Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and it is time for another game review. And I want to talk about some of my recent pickups. I got Sonic Colors. Now, this is a game that there was some mixed reactions about it. They were mostly positive, or some like above average reviews. And the thing is, a lot of people have said that Sonic hasn't had a good game since like the Sonic Adventure games, or they say that Sonic hasn't had a good game since the Genesis days, and I say that's fucking bullshit right there. People are still saying to this day that Sonic hasn't had a decent game. He hasn't had a decent game. He hasn't had a decent game, and fact of the matter is, this game is pretty fucking awesome, and I personally love it. Um, I think this is a really, really good game. And I think it perfectly captures Sonic's universe here. Um, and it does a lot of things that improve the series. It has a couple of things that I don't like, and I'm going to talk about it right now. First of all, this game is very graphically impressive. For the Wii being, inferior to the PS3 and the 360, this game is awesome. And it proved that it does have better graphic capabilities than the GameCube. Many people said that this game is, that this system is like, equivalent to the GameCube as far as graphics. No, it is a step up from it. And they did a really good job with the graphics. There's some parts, especially I have to really say the um the aquarium levels. They look incredible. Yes, the aquarium part of the amusement park is amazing. And basically, that's what the story is here. Robotnik, or Eggman, has created an amusement park, and you have to traverse all the little mini planets that go into the amusement park, and you have to try to save these aliens called Wisps. And this is where the gameplay gets pretty fucking awesome about Sonic Colors. Sonic, for like one of the first times ever, gets to change his forms. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Yoshi's Island, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo, that you get to change in forms. Remember when Yoshi would turn into a helicopter? Well, Sonic can turn into a rocket, he can turn into a drill, he can turn into like this floating wisp. He can also turn into like this lightning bolt that can shoot every which way. It is pretty fucking awesome. They implemented these, and I've seen some people complain about the wisps, including one of my favorite YouTubers, Darkness the Curse. And Darkness, I don't know if you watch my videos as well, but thing is, I have to really ask you is why don't you like the wisps? Um, I think that it is a big part of the gameplay. And, I kind of feel like this is not an insult to you. If you are watching this video, I have to really ask you this. It's like, if you want the Sonic series to move forward, it can't be exactly like the Sonic Adventure series and Sonic Genesis series. It can't. This was a great way of moving it forward, and I really personally enjoyed it. I thought that this was a great way to go about moving the series forward by adding some nice power ups and things to change up the level. And that's the thing about these levels. I really like it. They also, there's the Starlight planet. I mean, some of these levels are like visually just enthralling. I mean, you're like staring at them, and they're beautiful to look at. Definitely some of the most beautiful environments I've ever seen. Yeah, they topped even their 2D counterparts in some respects. Or not really counterparts, but just 2D levels. You get what I'm saying? For a Sonic game. And there's a lot of exploration to do in this game, especially if you want to acquire the 5 red rings. I believe that they're in every stage, and sometimes I would go through a level and I would not even see a single red star ring. And that's to really say that you have to applaud the developers for hiding these things. The only thing about those red star rings that I have to criticize is the fact that some of them are so well hidden that you'll just fly right by them, and it does slow the gameplay down a bit. I mean, if Sonic hasn't always been about speed; it's been about exploration. But you know, some of these levels are really, really built around speed, and you're gonna have to slow it down. And a lot of times, you have to risk, a certain death by getting some of these things. I mean, and you can't go back and get them. Once you miss them, you have to like restart the level or finish the level up and go back again. Or, if you got a checkpoint, kill yourself and then start again. Um, that you have to do that if you want to get all these red rings. So you're not going to know where they're going to be during your first playthrough. And that's the thing. And even sometimes when it does look like you can go back, you can't. The screen like locks. And, I didn't really care for that. Now, this game, believe it or not, it takes largely a lot of the time in 2D. And I like that. It switches between 3D and 2D. 2D is a little bit, takes a bit more time out of this game. You'll be spending more time in 2D. And switching to 3D for some like other parts, and sometimes they'll even give you a a perspective, of Sonic running towards you, which we saw in the Sonic Adventure games, and you see that a little bit more here. And I really do love that perspective. I love seeing Sonic just running at me. I mean, it brings brings about a 3D effect to the game. So I enjoyed that as well. The only problem I have with the 2D is, thinking back to the Genesis days of Sonic, the camera was like right there on Sonic. Sonic had a pretty big sprite. These levels are pretty big, and there's a lot of them. So the camera like zooms out at times, and it's a little bit annoying. It's like, you're definitely appreciating this big world, but Sonic's sprite is so tiny sometimes. It's like you really want the camera to just zoom in on him. And I kind of wish that option was available, because I kind of feel like we don't really need to see all of this. It was fine in the Genesis game. I know that they're trying to show like, oh, look at this big fancy resolution, but let's be perfectly honest, it's only 480p. So we really don't need to move the fucking camera back that much to fool us into thinking this is some sort of greater resolution when it's really not. And I feel like if they zoomed in a little bit more, we wouldn't they cropped out a little bit more of the screen, we really wouldn't be running into any hazards unfairly or anything like that. Yeah, so I felt like they kind of could have condensed this game a little bit visually. It's a bit too open to the part where, you're seeing a bit too much and not enough for the main character. Now, sometimes the camera does get back on you, but, then it looks like it goes right back out again. So I wish there was an adjustable camera. I didn't really find this very annoying, but, you could even see it on the back cover. I know you're not going to be able to see that. There's too much glare. But the camera's fucking just so far away from you. And though I haven't tried any of the two-player shit, I probably won't be playing that anyway. And the thing is, yeah, so this is a really good game. Also, what I really love is how they reworked, how they do stories in Sonic games. First of all, they got rid of the terrible voice actors from the previous games, and now we have some pretty good dialogue, some funny, some entertaining dialogue that's very reminiscent of Sonic Sat AM. Some good dialogue, some good funny dialogue that's, not like too, it's not serious, but it's it's entertaining. And they really improved Tails' voice, and Eggman's voice, I believe, is the same voice from Sonic X. So I was, I'm not a big fan of Sonic X, but I did watch it, But the thing is, I'm pretty happy with the way this game turned out. I really am. And I know I'm getting to this one a bit late, about 5 years late, but I kind of held back on it because I wasn't sure how good it was going to be, because the criticisms of a lot of people and saying that Sonic games suck. And the fact of the matter is, this game does not suck, guys. It's actually really fucking good. And if you haven't played it, stop listening to people already about these fucking games. Sonic is not dead. Sonic has not had a, you know, these claims of Sonic hasn't had a good game in decades. It's simply not true. There's a lot of good Sonic games out there, and this is one of them. This really is. I mean, there's no bones about it. I mean, this is a good game. It's entertaining. There's not a lot of flaws in it. I mean, there are flaws. Let's be perfectly honest. But there's not a lot that really, would deter you from not being entertained. Now, sometimes there are issues with the controls. I feel like sometimes they're a bit too slippery, and sometimes a little bit, just a hair. I saw this criticism online. I kind of see what they're talking about them being unresponsive. This is at certain times during the game. Certain times I noticed this. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, when this really came about was in some of the platforming stages. I mean, it was kind of weird that the controls would kind of get a little bit finicky in some of these, high danger areas with a lot of pitfalls around them. But I noticed that sometimes the controls are a bit finicky, but for the most part, they are pretty responsive and they do work well. And there's not a lot of cheap deaths in this game. There really isn't. They've tried to tighten this gameplay as much as possible. And thing I like about this game is, unlike the Sonic Adventure games, I really haven't seen any glitches yet. I've played like through 4 of the planets already, and there are no glitches so far. So that's fucking awesome. I mean, this is a game that's been tested. Finally, they've tested the game. And it really is awesome. And I feel like this game was made to make up for those terrible storybook games and Sonic 06. Now, I haven't played Sonic and the Black Knight, but I have played Sonic and the Secret Rings, and I can definitely tell you that this game definitely does make up for that one. So anyway, yeah. So there's my review. I think it's a great game. I think Sonic Colors is a great fucking game, and if you haven't played it, you really should.